Coming up next, the Air Force community mourning tonight after a Shaw airman is killed in an accident just outside of base. The details next.
From the station that's on your side, you're watching News 19 at 11.
And good evening. Thanks for being with us now. I'm J.R. Berry.
And I'm Andrea Mock. We now know the person who was killed in an accident just outside of Shaw Air Force Base earlier today was an active duty airman.
40-year-old Bryant Riley was returning from lunch when he was hit by a log truck. Now, troopers say the 68-year-old driver of the truck disregarded a traffic light and hit Riley on the driver's side. This all happened at the new gate at Shaw Air Force Base. We're being told that Riley was wearing a seatbelt and was pronounced dead at the scene.
Well, after beating South Dakota State on Saturday, the USC women are in round of 32 playing Kansas Jayhawks as we speak. The score with just under about 13 minutes left in the game. Kansas a slight lead right now, leading 59-52 over the Lady Gamecocks. Because of broadcast licensing issues, we cannot show highlights of the game until it's officially over. Coming up in sports, though, we are going to have a latest update for you from the team in Boulder.
In the meantime, the cheerleaders in Cocky are enjoying their dose of snow in Colorado. Parts of that area saw up to 15 inches of the white stuff in the early spring storm. Back here at home, though, things have been cooling down, with temperatures only reaching into the mid-50s today. But it felt a whole lot colder because of that wind. For the latest on your forecast, we're going to head on over to meteorologist Daniel Bonds. It sure was chilly out there, Dan.
Yeah, you're right. It was chilly out there. Definitely didn't feel like spring whatsoever. We still have a breeze out there coming out of the west, generally 18 miles per hour Columbia, 15 miles per hour in Sumter, also 14 miles per hour in Orangeburg. Eventually, we are going to lose these winds, but I think still going to be picking up throughout tonight. Right now, 41 degrees Columbia, 42 degrees in Orangeburg, and in Sumter, a little cooler in the upstate, where they're already in the middle and upper 30s. Now, these temperatures are going to be dropping tonight, and the National Weather Service has issued a freeze warning for Fairfield, Newberry, and Saluda counties. This is from 4 to 8 a.m. on Tuesday, so may hit freezing at least for an extended period of time in those counties. For the rest of us, we may touch freezing, but not for an extended period of time. Still going to be cold, though, with these lows dropping down into the lower 30s. And then for tomorrow, still a cool day, a lot of sunshine. We're looking at highs around 55 degrees, but with those winds out of the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour, it'll feel a touch cooler. But we'll take a closer look at your forecast for the next 7 days coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Daniel, thank you. Richland deputies need your help tonight to find a copper thief who is stealing from local churches and causing up to $100,000 in damages. Since January, deputies believe the same thieves have hit 9 churches in the lower Richland area. The hardest hit church was at Lebanon United Methodist Church over in Eastover with $30,000 worth of damage. And then also at St. John's Baptist Church in Hopkins, 6 units were hit, causing $21,000 in damages. Members say the financial hit will make it harder for them to continue church programs like feeding elderly residents.
Our members do give from the heart, and what those dollars we would like to use them for is not replacing air conditioning units. Some of those auxiliaries and ministries probably won't get their fundings for this year because of monies we have to help to replace these units.
If you transport stolen copper, that one time, that's a 10-year felony.
Well, if you have any information that can help investigators in this case, call Crime Stoppers 1-888-CRIME-SC.
Well, last Friday, we told you about a parent in Sumter who's trying to improve her disabled son's experience at Furman Middle School. Lisa Thomas came to us after she says she was told by the school that her son couldn't be picked up and dropped off at a ramp entrance, an entrance created specifically for students with disabilities. Thomas says the school says it causes a traffic problem for the rest of the buses. That's what she was told. Her son suffers from a disease that makes it difficult for him to walk long distances. So when he is dropped off at the main entrance, it's a big problem for him. He uses a walker. Now the school has allowed her son to drop off her son at that entrance, but the school's not allowing any other special needs students to be dropped off there.
And I don't think Christian should be singled out and given special treatment. I think that the other children deserve the same option. It should be up to their parent.
Well, today we traveled to Sumter to check out the dismissal. The bus that picks up Thomas's son was able to go to the special ramp without any disruption to any other buses.
Family members of a man shot to death by former Utahville police chief 2 years ago spoke out today. Their statement comes after federal investigators announced yesterday that they will not be pressing any charges in the case. The family claims former chief made racial remarks at the time of the shooting. Their statement says in part, the Bailey family is disappointed in the decision. We have no intentions of fanning the flames of racism. The facts are the facts. But we hope that any fair-minded person who has a nose can recognize the putrid, sickening, and gut-wrenching smell of injustice when it enters the room. Solicitor David Pasco is going to conduct his own investigation now into the shooting. He says he's not sure how long it'll take, but he does expect it will not take as long as the federal investigation did. And an Elgin town councilman is facing charges of assaulting his wife. He has now officially resigned from office. 41-year-old Norman Bubba Ernst was charged earlier this month after deputies say he hit his wife with a flashlight. Ernst insists his resignation letter is not an admission of guilt, but that he wants to keep the town of Elgin out of the media.
North Carolina police are looking for a family of 3 after they say a case of road rage turned violent. Investigators say 2 cars pulled off the road and both drivers got out of the car. As you can see in the video, 2 people in one car began beating the other driver. Deputies say at one point one of the drivers pulled out a gun and fired several times at the other car. This might be disturbing to look at. Investigators say they are looking for that driver as well as the female passenger and a toddler in the car at the time.
My goodness. Well, last week, Congress passed a bill that would force the Postal Service to deliver mail on Saturday. But without the president's signature, those cutbacks still are threatening workers nationwide. In Michigan, postal workers and members of the community are protesting the end of Saturday mail service. They say losing mail Saturday delivery will lead to more deeper cuts in the Postal Service. They also say that senior citizens, small businesses, and rural areas would be hit the hardest by that dramatic change. Now, while lawmakers wrestle with the agency over cutbacks to delivery, it appears that they are not putting their money where their mouths are. Ross McLaughlin reports on a partnership that on the surface doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
It's a competitive business, and the U.S. Postal Service is losing out. According to this report by the Office of the Inspector General, the Postal Service got only a small slice of the federal government's business last year. Federal agencies spent $337 million on shipping. The financially troubled Postal Service got just $4.8 million of that, only 2% of the business.
That is surprising because you think that would be the first place that they would go to. And try to work with the United States Postal Service and boost them up.
But Kathy Young, who's in the business of shipping, understands why federal agencies turn to private services like FedEx and UPS. While the post office has made great strides in making money on flat-rate boxes, when it comes to larger and heavier packages, it loses out.
When the size of the package does matter, UPS and FedEx can be cheaper than going through the United States Postal Service.
According to the Washington Guardian, the Postal Service waited too long before forming partnerships with federal agencies. FedEx and UPS went after government business 11 years ago, while the Postal Service didn't start to form partnerships until 2009.
One thing the Inspector General found is that the Post Office doesn't have a large enough staff of dedicated salespeople who specialize in selling to government agencies.
Investigators say adding guaranteed delivery like private shippers could position the Post Office to bid on government contracts, generating $34.8 million more a year.
And that's money the post office desperately needs. The Washington Guardian reached out to postal officials who said they need more information to find out exactly how much money they'd make off those federal contracts, like the size and the weight of the parcels, their destination, and the expected level of service.
But competing with private shippers to penetrate the market could be difficult for the post office because federal law prevents it from discounting prices and taking a loss to generate the business while trying to make the money up on other services. That's why it has to look at cost-cutting measures like Saturday delivery on first-class mail.
Yeah, we like to have Saturday delivery.
But you can't have it all unless the post office finds ways to make more money.
They got to do what they got to do.
Well, that was Ross McLaughlin reporting. The Saturday mail cuts are supposed to go into effect in August. Postal officials say the move is necessary because they are losing $25 million a day.
Well, now on to an industry that isn't struggling. Guns and ammo selling briskly these days, and that means weapons makers are hiring. Some manufacturers are scrambling to find enough workers. One expert says the industry employs about 240,000 people across the country. Analysts note many of the new jobs are temporary contract jobs, since the companies don't know how long the surge in demand is going to last.
Don't forget you have less than a week now to enroll in the free credit monitoring service provided by the state and Experian. The state revenue department sent notification letters to nearly 4 million taxpayers whose personal information was compromised in the security breach last year. For details on how to sign up, you can head over to our website, WLTX.com, and then just look under the news tab.
Well, a Boeing 787 took off in Washington state today on a test flight to see if a redesigned battery system works properly. The test flight is part of Boeing's plan to show safety regulators the Dreamliner is ready to resume commercial flights. Boeing's new 787s have been grounded since January when a battery on the plane caught fire after it landed in Boston, and the battery on another began smoking during a flight in Japan. Boeing added insulation around battery cells and a steel casing on the outside to prevent the fires. On Saturday, Camden will be invaded by thousands making their way to the 81st annual Carolina Cup. Those added guests means a harder job for the Camden Police Department. They won't be alone, though, in their efforts. 17 different law enforcement agencies will be on hand to help run security that day. However, this year, the Kershaw Sheriff's Department won't be doing that after being asked not to show up after an agreement on pay couldn't be reached. However, police say they are ready to make sure everybody stays safe.
I would say the numbers potentially could go up this year in the sense of the underage violations, because we'll have that many more people there working security. So those numbers have a high probability of going up.
Well, to help with the cost of keeping everything safe, the Camden City Council voted to approve a cost of up to $25,000 for the Camden Police Department to provide increased security for Saturday.
Okay, imagine you're at a sporting event and you need some tickets to the game. So all you do is slip on a pair of sunglasses that singles out everybody there who's selling tickets. Professors at USC are working to make this a reality with Google Glasses and an app for your smartphone. It's very interesting. Stephen Dial has more on this cutting-edge technology.
How do we leverage phones being inseparable from humans? How can we take advantage of that?
Computer science and engineering professor Sri Huri Nelakadithi is working with professors at Duke University on an app called Insights. The app will be able to recognize people without using face recognition.
Imagine that I can create such a fingerprint and then attach a message with that fingerprint.
The professors received a grant through Google and are now working to make the app compatible with Google Glasses. It will allow you to send text, tweets, and other forms of communication to others with the application.
When you are wearing a Google Glass, let's say, and when you look at me, then your Google Glass can match what it sees with the fingerprint I shared with you, and then if there is a match, then it can display that message to you on the Google Glass.
The app also can be used with the camera on your smartphone. Nelakadithi believes that the app could even be helpful when looking for a job.
In a job fair, I can share this kind of visual fingerprint and say that these are my skill set. When I look around, when there is a match, they can really physically communicate.
Right now, they are focusing on the recognition phase. Next, we'll be getting the glasses to recognize the messages and become user-friendly. Nelakadithi says it's going to be like wearing a virtual name tag.
When they see through Google Glass, they identify me, even though I'm not wearing any physical badge from any angle.
In Columbia, Stephen Dial, News 19 WLTX.
The Google Glasses will be available by the end of this year and will come with a price tag of $1,500.
USC's athletics director Ray Tanner and former Clemson AD Bill McClellan lead the State Athletic Hall of Fame's class of 2013. The class also consists of Clemson quarterback Homer Jordan and the former voice of the Tigers, the late Jim Phillips. Loved hearing him on the radio. And USC baseball great Hank Small. The 8 individuals will be enshrined with the state's highest athletic honor on May 13th at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center.
It is official now. A 44-year-old New Jersey man is the winner of the $338 million Powerball jackpot. Pedro Cuesta is his name, and he made his way to the liquor store where he bought his ticket and had the store owner run the ticket through the lottery machine to validate that, yes, in fact, it was the winner. The lump sum payout after taxes comes to about $152 million. The man says his first priority, of course, is to help his family.
Who says dreams don't come true in America?
That is going to be a fantastic Easter.
That's right. All right, quick update for you, Lady Gamecocks in Boulder right now with about 6.5 minutes to go, all tied up with Kansas 65-65.
It is a very good game. We'll have an update for you in sports, of course, but still ahead tonight. Temperatures might feel more like winter outside, especially with that wind today. Daniel Bond's back with what the rest of the work week will bring.
Plus, Florida Gulf Coast University cashing in on March Madness, a bunch of walk-ons. The details in a moment.
You're watching News 19 at 11 with J.R. Berry and Andrea Mock.
Florida Gulf Coast University, the biggest surprise in this year's NCAA tournament, is suddenly the hottest school in terms of new fans' interests. Sales at the school's bookstore on campus shot up. Are you ready for this on Saturday? 1,000%. That's a good day in sales after the upset against Georgetown compared to a year ago. The store was closed yesterday, but online sales were going crazy as they beat San Diego State to become the first 15th seed ever to advance to the Sweet 16.
You know what? At this point, my bracket is totally busted, so I hope they win it all.
Exactly. I mean,
not?
it's such a cool Cinderella story, and everyone's rooting for them. So.
Either them or Wichita State, Greg Marshall's ball club. Gotta go.
2 thumbs up on that one.
Can you imagine if he does win, the Gamecock fans are going to be clamoring because they wanted him so bad as a coach several years ago. But another story, what we have outside now is a little bit of breeze still. And
so windy outside today, Daniel.
And it is chilly. It doesn't feel like spring whatsoever, but gradually we do have a warm up on the way. But here's what we're seeing right now, or this is what we saw earlier today. 52 degrees at the airport, 51 degrees in the city. Normally we go for highs of 71 degrees, so we were a good 19 and 20 degrees below normal today, and our record high for today, 90 degrees. That probably would have felt okay today. That was set back in 1929. Our morning lows are 42 and 43. That was early this morning, and actually we are below that right now. 41 degrees Columbia, Sumter, St. Matthews, 42 degrees in Orangeburg, 45 degrees in Manning. The northern Midlands, including Camden, you guys are in the upper 30s already. 39 degrees Camden, Winnsboro, Saluda, 37 degrees over in Newberry, but that's only half the story. You mix in the wind, we're talking about a wind chill right now of 32 degrees Columbia, Camden, 33 degrees Lexington and Aiken. So if you have been outside over the past several hours, you know just how cold it actually does feel with these chilly temperatures and that strong breeze coming out of the west. And that looks like that may be the case overnight tonight. The good news is no precipitation. You have to head up to the mountains of North Carolina where there are some winter storm warnings still in effect up towards Asheville and Knoxville. They'll continue to see some snowfall overnight. Obviously nothing like that for us as we put our forecast in motion for you. We'll see clear skies tonight. A few clouds move through the area tomorrow as a little disturbance swings through. We're not looking for any rain tomorrow, but once that disturbance moves on through, we'll see a lot of sunshine for the remaining portions of the work week all the way through Thursday and even into Friday. It should remain dry, unlike what we saw over the weekend. As far as tonight is concerned, it is going to be cold, and keep in mind that freeze warning is in effect for Saluda, Newberry, and Fairfield counties from 4 to 8 a.m. So keep that in mind for tomorrow morning. We could hit freezing here in Columbia, Camden, and places like that, but it'll be very brief. Tomorrow we are looking for highs in the middle 50s, but keep in mind those winds coming out of the west, 10 to 15 miles per hour, will make it feel a little bit cooler. Finally, we start warming up a little bit. Wednesday, 59 degrees. Thursday, 61. And then as we make our way towards the end of the work week and into the weekend, 63 degrees Friday, 65 degrees on Saturday. Another little disturbance moves through on Sunday. We'll just keep it mostly cloudy right now with highs right around 69 degrees. And looking ahead to the beginning of next work week, finally, we're closer to normal. We're looking at highs on Monday around 73 degrees. Well, that is a look at your chilly forecast. Reggie's coming up with sports right after this short break.
I've had 3 people tell me the score. I know the score. All right. Talking about the USC women's basketball team, one win away from the Sweet 16. More importantly, a game on the East Coast. A win tonight over Kansas would give USC the Boulder Regional and put them in Norfolk for a game Sunday afternoon, so the Easter Bunny and Cocky could hang out at the Constant Convocation Center in Norfolk. That's where this game is held. We can't show you highlights, but we can show you what went down earlier today during the pregame as they were warming up. Win by USC would be number 26 on the season. That would be the most wins in a season since the 1979-80 team won 30. But right now it's a tight one. In fact, Kansas is up 3, 72-69 late. We will have complete coverage on our website, WLTX.com. We'll be updating you for the rest of our newscast. And you can check out our show tomorrow morning, News 19 this morning. Also, James Starks has been tweeting up in Boulder. His fingers are thawed out enough where he's been able to tweet. So we'll keep up. We got you covered. All right, Ray Tanner receiving the state's highest athletic honor next May, along with 7 other people with Palmetto State ties. Tanner is being inducted into the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame. This is a major honor, the highest individual athletic honor. He was, of course, in charge of the baseball program for 16 years, won back-to-back national titles. Of course, now he's taken over the entire athletics program at USC. Also going in, former Clemson quarterback Homer Jordan, the late Jim Phillips, who was the voice of the Tigers, and also the late Hank Small, who played at USC on the diamond in the early 70s. Meanwhile, the USC baseball team, as we know, suffered a rare home sweep. In fact, it had not been since 1999 since the Gamecocks had been swept in 3 9-inning games, but Arkansas turned it this weekend. And as a result, Carolina's taken a tumble down the national polls from 5th to 17th in Baseball America, and also in the USA Today coaches poll, the Gamecocks dropped from 6th to 14th. Tomorrow night, Gamecocks travel to College of Charleston, and then on Thursday, Texas A&M comes to town, so no time for the Gamecocks to be moping around because they've got business to take care of this week. All right, how about a little spring training baseball from Sarasota, Florida, and that former Gamecock Jackie Bradley Jr. here at the plate, making his case to be on the Red Sox opening day roster. JBJ, RBI. Sox lose to the O's 12-9, but Bradley's been making an impact in spring training, so we'll see what Boston does with the former first-round selection. Go Red Sox. All right. Hey, look who is back on the top of the world golf rankings. Tiger Woods, remember he was as low as 58th in the world when he was going through all the personal turmoil, but he slowly worked his way back, had some wins, had some not so good performances. Well, today he wins the Arnold Palmer Invitational for the 8th time, won it by 2 strokes over Justin Rose. Justin's had some success at Augusta before, so watch him as well. But obviously all eyes are on Tiger. Next up, he'll try to end that 5-year drought in the majors at Augusta National.
It feels good right now. I was just kind of scrolling through my phone and all the people who've supported me and all the texts and saying thank you. Trying to text back as thank you as fast as I possibly can. But it's been incredible to have all the support and all the hard work has paid off to get me to this point, and it feels good to have won this event. This event means so much to me over the years. I lived here. It was my first house I ever owned, and it was here in Orlando, and both of my kids were born here, and it has a very special place.
All right, finally, a little March Madness for you. Guess who is really getting it done for LaSalle? That is former Gamecock Ramon Galloway. He scored 24 points in the win last night over Ole Miss. Nicely done by the former Gamecock.
We're pretty young, and it just feel like AAU all over again. We play a game, go to sleep, wake up, play another game. So I mean, we're pretty excited. For the whole trip. We're in the Sweet 16 now, so we loving it.
Yeah, battle of former Gamecocks. Murphy Holloway obviously plays for Ole Miss, but Ramon Galloway wins that battle. All right, stay with us. News 19 will be right back.
Near freezing for many of us. Freezing in the northern Midlands, 55 degrees tomorrow, so still going to be chilly for your Tuesday.
And we have caught a red-hot Kansas team, 74-69 right now.
Coming down to the very final seconds. The girls have played a great game.
Yeah, but sometimes it's matchups in the big dance, and so we'll keep you updated on LTX.com. Letterman's next. I got that.
You got it?
I got that.
I got nothing.
Letterman's next.
Good job, Reg.